Hi everybody, today is Thursday, June the 4th. Kevin noticed this on my desk the other day and said, boy, that's really classic and antique. I said, that's really a treasured thing for me. My brother-in-law Bob, who's passed on, gave me this as a Christmas present, maybe about 25 or 30 years ago, and I've always kept it. And it's a little Magnavox radio. I don't even think make Magnavox anymore. But anyhow, what's interesting about this, that it's AM, it's FM, and it's also shortwave. And it's got all these buttons on it. I have the directions somewhere upstairs to show you how to work it all, but I kind of keep it tuned to KYW 1060, Philadelphia. Traffic and weather on the 2s or the 3s, wherever that case might be. But I like to keep this on my desk just to get caught up to snuff on some of the local news. But it's an interesting thing. It has batteries in the back in here. I lost the cover some time ago, but it doesn't matter because the batteries are there. It also has a map on the back of the world, to let you see. And then you can do shortwave for like all over the world. But it's got this gig on it too, and this is interesting. Now you can listen to the radio. Yeah, there it is right there. Okay. But this is called an antenna. For those of you that are of the millennial or the modern era, don't know what an antenna is, this is what an antenna is. When we were kids, we had antennas on the television sets. They were called rabbit ears. And I can remember my dad, God rest his soul. My dad had gotten rabbit ears for the television. We had a 12.5-inch RCA Victor. The TV screen was this big and the TV set was this big. Had tubes and all the other business. But my father got the rabbit ears, and the stations were only like 3, 6, and 10. And they were doubles, rabbit ears. And so what happened, depending upon the weather, you might have to adjust the direction of the antenna to try to get the signal. And then when UHF came in, and they had channels 17, 29, and 48, they had another antenna in the back. That really confused my father, so he said, look, you kids figure it out. But the antenna is interesting because what the antenna does is to help the range. And when the antenna is extended and it's put in the right direction, it kind of picks up the wave so that what you hear is a lot clearer. The antenna is really kind of important. Now, if you have a car, perhaps maybe like a modern car today, the antenna is usually on the back roof of the car, and it looks like a little shark, fin. But back in the 60s and 70s, the 80s, they had antennas that were on the side of the car on the right-hand side. It's the same thing. The antenna went all the way down. You went to the car wash, the antenna go down. Okay, and it had to go up, when you come out of the car wash in order to get the right reception. Then they eventually put the antennas in the windows. They got rid of these things. Boy, technology is amazing. But the thought of the antenna is important because you see, your life and my life is trying to constantly absorb the ways of God's Spirit in my life so that I'm prompted to do good and that my life would be an example, that I would need to be inspired by the movement of God. And so what needs to happen in order to be able to catch that, we need to extend our reach beyond what we see into the life of God's Spirit. And when we're able to do that, then we're able to pick up the Spirit of God as the Spirit of God moves throughout life and it can absorb into our being so that we can have a clearer notion of the movement of our life and how God's presence can affect the way I think, the way I speak, and the way I talk. And so there it is. We all got one of these. Make sure you stretch it as far as it can so that it reaches the heavens, and the Spirit of God then will be picked up in everything that you do in your earthly life. Have a good day, folks. We'll see you tomorrow.